Hi class, welcome to week 3. I hope that so far you've had some insightful ideas on web design and site usability and user experience. And this week we're actually going to look at the importance of site structure and content organization. As we realized last week in some of the sites that we were critiquing, when sites are disorganized or you don't understand the navigation or where the content is, it can get really frustrating. And when you have a frustrating experience on a website, it's very likely that you're going to leave and find your information elsewhere. So in today's lesson, we're going to look at how to create a more organized architecture of a site, looking at both a bad example and a good example, and thinking about things that they could do differently to make their experience a little bit better. Then we're going to start to look at sitemaps, which are the very first stage of the web design process. And we'll look at some sitemap examples and go into some techniques for actually creating sitemaps of your own, which you're going to need to do for this week's homework assignment. So let's take a look at a website that struggles with its content organization and the structure of its site. So this is Monte Castelli Selections. You can view it after this lesson on montecastelli.com. And the thing that I want you to notice here is that it's not intuitive off the bat what type of content is in this site and how you're actually going to navigate to it. Now, we're not really critiquing the design of the site. I want us to really look at the way that the content is organized and interlinked to each other. So this is the home page, and it's basically clear that there are 5 different links that we can go to. There's wine, distribution, olive oil, farm, and villa. And let's just click around and see what happens when we start digging in. So here I've clicked in wine, and I can see there's several different navigation structures going on. We have links at the top that looks like it's going into more information about the wine. We have links along the side that's even more information about the wine. And then if you scroll down, there's even a third navigational structure here. So right off the bat, from clicking into the site once, I'm bombarded with all of these other links, and I'm not quite sure where these links are going to go or how they deal with the narrative of the site. So as we click in, we'll start to see that the content is just overwhelming. There's so many different links, so many different pages, and it's really not clear how the site is all organized. It has a very poor information architecture. So here I clicked on a link that said olive oil, and all of a sudden I see another link that says olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and coffee. So when a user clicks on a link that says olive oil, I think I'm going to get information about olive oil, not 3 other different products. So they really might want to consider calling that tab products and then have a brief description of 3 different products that then allow you to click in further and get information on specific types of olive oil. So we're not going to spend too much time going over this site, but I do encourage you to go to the link, click around, and feel for yourself what it's like to browse a website like this. Now, last week, some of you might have looked at the apple.com site and had some really great things to say about your experience browsing it. Now, the experience with this website, I believe, is so fantastic is because the site is very organized and easy to navigate. There's a very clear navigational structure at the top of the website, and I know in clicking any of these links where it's going to take me. When I click on Store, it's going to take me to a page where I can buy different products. When I click on Mac, it's going to take me to information about different Mac computers. And then there's a sub-navigational structure here, which is going to allow me to dig one step deeper into the site to give me specific product information. So first I clicked on Mac, and it gave me all the different types of computers. And now I'm going to click on Mac Pro, and it's going to give me specifications on that specific model. And from there are different pages about that MacBook Pro, such as the features, different design about it, its performance, and the option to buy. Now, Apple on its website, and a lot of websites have this at the very bottom in their footer, they have a sitemap right here, this link at the bottom, which is going to give you an outline of every single page in the Apple site. And that's essentially what a sitemap is. It's a diagram that outlines every specific piece of content that's going to be on your website. And there's a couple reasons why this is really useful. One, from a design perspective, if we can outline from the beginning all the different pages of our site, we'll know the scope of our project and what pages need to be designed. And from a developer's standpoint, it allows you to then figure out how all the different pieces of content link together. You know, if we make an analogy to a house, right? We're not going to start with the blueprint of the house. Before we start with the blueprint, we're going to say, well, how many bedrooms do we want our house to have? How many bathrooms? Is there a garage? Is there an eat-in kitchen, or is there a kitchen and a dining room? So you have to make sure that you know what type of content you're going to have before you go and start to develop the architecture or the wireframes or the blueprints of your house or website. So let's take a look at some sitemap examples that I've made. So this is a sitemap for a restaurant in New York City called Babbo, and the sitemap for this restaurant is relatively straightforward. You can see that the website has a home page, and then the boxes right underneath it are going to be your main navigation. You see I've titled them and they're all connected to the home page. We have menu, reservations, restaurante, location, biblioteca, events, and a link to a non-mobile site. And you can see here that underneath each second tier page, there are certain pages that have pages underneath that. So the menu page has a third tier, which is different types of menus: lunch, dinner, tastings, dolce, and fromage. And the biblioteca, which is kind of like a travel blog, has subcategories underneath that, like region, ingredient, recipe, dolce, and sommelier's pick. Now, I have a little key legend over here, so that way it's really clear what type of content is on my sitemap. So here, this open table widget, which has a red border around it, if I look at the legend, that's so that my client knows that this is for the reservations. I also have footer content, which is an external link and a link to the mailing list, as well as links to their social media pages. So let's take a quick look at this site so we can see how this sitemap translates over to the design. So here, the Babbo, we have the make a reservation, which is on the home page, which is going to be a link out to the open table website. And then we have our main navigation here: restaurante, menu, vino, gifts, biblioteca. The client changed this a little bit after I made the sitemap, I see now. And let's look at menu so we can see those third tier pages. So here we have our menu landing page. And then you can see we have links on the side that are going to go to those secondary pages that are the menu content. So now let's look at a sitemap that's a little bit more complicated. So this is a sitemap for MarioBatali.com, and this is a website that I will be launching hopefully by the end of the month, and I will let you all know when this website goes live because it's something that I've been putting a lot of time into, and I think you'll really enjoy getting a sense of what this site is like. I'm going to be using that site particularly for a lot of examples as we continue through this semester because there's a lot of different functionality that I think is really important and that I'd want to highlight as we work through our site designs. So unlike the Babbo website, this site has a lot more content and a lot of different components that are built in with it, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. So here we have our home page, and you can see on the home page that there's a bunch of different links that are going attached to the home page. Now what that's supposed to represent are different widgets or different pieces of functionality that are accessible only on the home page. So you can see, I know it's a little small, but we have this box that says Twitter app. Now that's a custom-made Twitter app that we've made for the home page. And we have an interactive map, we have a video player, we have ads, we have featured content. Now we have the main navigation below, about Mario Batali, his restaurant, which have secondary pages underneath for each city, which then have a third tertiary page for all the restaurants associated with that city. Then we have recipes, and underneath recipes, I have a little thing called recipe pages, and there's looks like it's stacked, the boxes. Now that's supposed to mean because he's going to have 40, 50 recipes on his site, I don't want to make accountable every single recipe on his website because I don't know how many he's going to have. So I make a triple little box icon to indicate that there's going to be multiple kinds of recipe pages. And then we have books and products, which each underneath have their own page underneath. And then we have video and a video page with multiple pages. He's going to have a map of Italy and then his editorial blog content. So let's take a quick look. The site's not done, but it will be soon. But let's take a quick look at this. So here's the home page that I was telling you about that has all these different widgets and links right on the home page. Here's the Twitter widget that I was talking to you about that allows you to tweet Mario directly from the website. And then let's take a look at one of these secondary and tertiary pages. So here, if we go to restaurants, we're going to land on a restaurant landing page that gives us a list of all the different restaurants. We've created a picture view and also a list view. So let's look at Babbo, which is the website that I showed you previously. And so now this is going to be a tertiary page that's going to give you information about Babbo specifically. So here we have Babbo, we have a little gallery, and then underneath it we have links that let you make a reservation, to check in on Foursquare, to buy gift cards, the menu, which is going to link out to Babbo, and then the Facebook and Twitter. And then here we have the blog content. So this is going to be more like a traditional blog that gives you images of each of the pieces of content on the website, and then you can click on each of these individually to go to a post page. So I showed you a pretty simple sitemap and then one that was a little bit more complex. Now let's look at one that's absolutely insane. So this is a project that I worked on for a website called MyDrobe. And now looking at this sitemap, it makes me crazy because there's so much information and it's all interconnected. And now this is a really good example of why sitemaps are important for a developer, because a programmer needs to know how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So here we have a Maven quiz and a style quiz. Now those are quizzes that the style quiz is 9 screens long and the Maven quiz is 11 screens long. But those quizzes are only accessible on specific pages, and it's important to map out how the user gets to those pages so we can know functionally how to build that in. Now, if you all want to check out MyDrobe, you can as well. I'm not going to spend too much time on this site, but this is the site. It has a lot of wild functionality. It's kind of like that scene in Clueless where Cher goes to a computer and it types in all of her outfits and it makes an outfit for her based on what's in her closet. So if those of you like to mix and match your clothing items, I recommend you sign up for this website and allow it to make outfits for you. So for your homework this week, we're going to be making sitemaps based off of the places that we visited in week 1. Now, if you don't want to make a sitemap for that location, you can go and visit a new place. Because I know that a lot of people visited drugstores or supermarkets, so this could be an opportunity to visit a different space that you may find a little bit more interesting. So there's things to think about when you're making these sitemaps are how many different levels do we have on these sitemaps? And the more levels deep, the more complex a sitemap is. So this is a 4-level deep sitemap, and we can very clearly see our main navigation up at the top. We have landing pages, which would be like menu, and we have detailed content pages. Let's go back to this one. So a landing page would be like recipe, and a detailed content page would be a specific recipe. We also have, you may want to include certain things in your sitemaps like search or search results or to contact. So you can make your sitemaps in various different design programs. I mostly use Illustrator and InDesign to create my sitemaps, but you can also use PowerPoint or Keynote if that's a program that you're really comfortable working within. And I want you to make your sitemaps based off of the space we visited in Lesson 1. And I want you to think about some interesting ways that we can organize those spaces. Not all content needs to be organized the same, and we can try to think about a structure or an organizational system that is intuitive but also innovative. So for your homework this week, you're going to upload it to the Canvas site, but I want you to do a multimedia recording so you can actually verbally present your sitemap to me. And if you have a few different ways that you want to organize your content, feel free to maybe make 2 different sitemaps to get a sense of how could we mix and match this content to create a different user experience. So I really look forward to all of your assignments, and I look forward to giving you guys some feedback and creating some really fantastic ways to explore how we can organize this content. Because then in, I think, about 2 more weeks, we're going to start to design it. And I think that's going to be really fun to start getting to visualize all this content. So that's it for this week, and I hope you enjoy doing your assignments and the reading for this week. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or any help with any of the assignments. Okay, that's it. Bye.